Daisies, daisies, daisies. All of us gardeners just love daisies. And if I look at over here, I have my African daisy here. I have below here my oxeye daisy, which I just totally love. And here I have my Shasta Daisy, again an incredible daisy. Now the beautiful thing about daisies is always the petals, and then you have the drama of having that yellow center. Now the thing about the Shasta Daisy is, first of all, it is so easy to maintain. It's very low maintenance, hardly any care, drought resistant, and it just basically takes care of itself. Now we have this one here, and there are many different varieties. Look how tall that is. It's almost, 4 feet tall. And it does produce blooms and blooms and blooms. Now, the other thing is that you do get a dwarf variety. But then the other day, as I was reading, I realized that the Shasta Daisy is actually a hybrid of my famous oxeye daisy, and I think, wow, that's great. So welcome back to my channel. My name is Alice. I'm the Red Soil Gardener. Let's talk about propagation and care for the Shasta Daisy. So now I have my Shasta Daisy, and look at it, and I put it actually in water because I do use them in the house, especially in the bathrooms. I just mix it up with some more colorful thing, and it does stay a while. So I think this is a really great idea, which I hope all of you will do. But let me go back and say, what is the requirement for this particular plant? Sun. It likes full sun, and also it can do well in partial sun. But the thing is that when you do get full sun, you'll get the blooms. So what sort of soil does it like? It needs a well-drained soil. So here I do have my soil, and here what I've done is I have an organic mix with all that lovely cocoa peat and all that. But what I've done is I've put slightly a bit more grit in it so that it can really drain, and it will do well. I'm not putting too much compost in it, because what happens is that when you do have too much fertilizer in it, you end up getting more foliage than you do of the blooms. So I've really regulated. This will be for my propagation. Now the other thing is, how does it like its water? Basically, with this drought tolerant daisy, is it can manage itself, but you need to water. I would do the finger test and also give it a few days from the last watering. Once it dries out, give it a few days of dryness and then water, but actually it does survive. So basically with this plant, it is really good for those who live in zone 4 to 9. Now, the other thing is that what I'd like to point out is that over winter, what you do to the plant is that if it's indoors, if it is in a container, is that what you do is bring it back into the house, and you can actually prune, and this could be a time that you're making your division and your propagation, and then you take it into a dark place or in a garage and let it go dormant there. Now, for those who have the plants outside, what you need to do after the first frost is actually cut it down to about 2 inches, just cut it down, and then get your mulch and cover it to insulate it. About 3 inches of mulch, just cover it and insulate it. You could also use straw. We've done this in the past. Cover it with straw so that it actually stays like that. Also with this plant, once it is outside, for the ones which are in your garden, don't worry so much about the watering, because it will rain a bit and everything, and it will look after itself. Now the thing is that once spring does come out, you bring out your container, you bring out the plants that you have propagated, and then also with your garden, just open up the soil, put some mulch over it so that it actually just keeps it still insulated, but at the same time you stop the weed production around the plant. So now that we've done the overwintering, let's look at the plant. Now, as we know, deadheading is very important, because once you do have deadheading of the spent flowers, it actually stimulates the plant to produce more flowers. Because as we know, flowers, this goes into seed production, and in order for the plant to keep reproducing itself, it has to produce the seeds. So once you do remove the seeds, the spent flowers, stopping the seed production, what happens? The plant starts producing more because it wants to live longer. So what happens is that when you do have to deadhead, try to deadhead when you see the spent flower. Unfortunately, I don't. But what you do is you go right completely down, for example, here, and you remove that bit of the flower. And once you remove that bit of the flower, you will get another sort of bud coming from the side. So again, going back to deadheading, is here on this stem here, there was a spent flower of which I removed it. But then if you see on the side I'm getting my shooting there for another bloom. So that is the whole principle of a deadheading. So in the Northern Hemisphere, when do you get your blooming season? It's from July right up into September, you will get the blooming season. So once you do go into blooming season, don't forget to deadhead, because you will get a lot of blooms. Also, just be really careful sometimes with your fertilizer. The more you fertilize, it may produce more foliage but less blooms, but just balance it out. And if you're in a problem, do go and talk to your local nursery and just understand that. So propagation of this particular plant, you can actually do it through seed. Once you've collected your seed, do sprinkle it lightly in a warm, sunny area of your garden, or if you want, in a propagation container, and then put a thin layer of soil. Now the thing is, the seed does need to get sun in order for it to germinate, so do keep it in a warm place. You could actually start the propagation of seeds in spring when the temperature is about 70 degrees Fahrenheit. But within 10 or 20 days, you will start seeing the germination taking place. And then from thereafter, you can put it in a container and slowly introduce it to your garden. Now, the other thing about propagation for this particular plant is that you could do it through division. Now, in this situation, I grew my Shasta Daisy in this container, and then I added so many things. I have my calendula, I have my transcantia here. But I really wanted you to have a look, because once you do look at this plant, is that what it does is that out of, in fact, I've got some here. Let's look at it. So this is actually how it starts. This is just the one plant that I bought. And then the rooting system, which is a rhizome, is quite interesting because they call it root layering. It grows out these roots, as you can see, and then once it does hit the soil, it sort of starts growing its root, and then it starts growing back into a flower. So in the end, even if you do start with one daisy plant, you will end up with so many, and here they are. So from one plant, all these roots, which actually sometimes sit on top of the soil, they just grow out, dip themselves back into the soil, and they start rooting, and that is what you can propagate. These root structures, which are rhizomes, they are so strong and so vigorous. Look at the way it grows. It just actually just really vigorous. And the thing is that it just goes around looking for moisture, and it gets stronger. So now with propagation of this plant, all you'll need to do is just like this. I'm going to snip it here. This is one of the roots that has got its baby, and look at that. Already, this is from the mother stem, and this is the rooting structure. This is the roots, and what it does, as I mentioned earlier, it just falls on the ground and gets its own roots, and that's your babies. So I'm just going to remove some of this like that. And all you have to do, sorry, I've broken some of the leaves. All you have to do is stick it in the soil. And then you just go on and on. So I'm going to cut this one, remove some of the rooting. And actually, the way I'm going to lay it, I'm going to do it lateral, because it appears that my roots, that's the way it likes to grow, because it just goes on the surface. But as I do it laterally, you will get babies shooting from the actual root. So I'm just going to cover that one, put enough soil, and then you just go on and on. And again, the same with this one. Just cut the roots like that. That's another one. And then with this mother one, I'm just going to snip all this rooting. I have another one plant here. I'm going to put it in the soil, and I'm actually lying it laterally, because we will get babies springing out from these nodes, and we'll follow this in Instagram. And so I'm going to put this one back in, just remove some of that. So I'm just going to lie it laterally and then just cover it. And the last one, this mother, I'm just, because I have snipped off some of the rhizomes to make for the room for those ones. But if I put it in, these will continue to grow and they will move around and set. So I'm going to put this here. But what I'm going to do is actually just cover it and keep it on a surface level, the plant, because as we know, these roots will grow laterally and we don't want them submerged at the moment, and I think they will go on top of the soil and then start shooting its babies. The thing about this daisy is that it grows in clumps, as you've seen. It does love that. But after a while, what you'll notice is that it does get overcrowded, as in this one. Also, what happens is that an indication that you need to actually separate it is when you don't get enough blooms. I'm just waiting with this one because it suddenly did pick up, but I do see I've got blooms coming up and I've got a lot of babies in here. I mean, a lot of those rooting, but I may even during the week declump it. But usually you find that when you get less blooms, it does need to be divided. And the way that normally is that when you do have these clumps in your garden, what happens is you have to go certainly about maybe about a foot away from the clump, and do get a spade and really jack it upwards. And then once you do remove the whole clump, you start dividing it. Just division, and you can keep clumps like that and place it in your garden and they will grow. But also just make sure that you get a spacing of maybe a foot or even 2 feet, because as we've seen with this plant, as soon as it sort of settles, it sends out its rhizomes and the rooting, and it does spread. So I would give it, if you are moving it from one area, if it's too congested, if it's overcrowded, jack it up, divide it into 4, and each section keep about a foot to 2 feet, and that's where you put your clumps, and they will spread and they will grow very quickly. So thank you, fellow gardeners. I hope you do go and get one of these daisies. They're so beautiful. The ones I have there, as they're growing taller and they will sometimes fall, I will support it with stakes and keep it up, because the beauty of it is when it's standing up and then showering us with this beautiful white color. So thank you so much. Don't forget to like, share. Also subscribe to our channel, invite your friends, your family. It's great fun. We are picking up the momentum. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram and send me your comments. I always do love answering them. And thank you so much for those who've written to me. It's always a blessing and also an encouragement for me. So fellow gardeners, till next time, do go and look for this, because it's great. Summer is coming and the daisies do well in summer. Thank you so much and have a lovely, lovely day.